be talking about forgiveness. And forgiveness is more than just a word. I mean, obviously, I forgive you, you forgive me. We use it in our regular language. Like we say these words to each other. But there's also a profound practice behind it that can benefit you and your relationships in very meaningful ways. It also can help you to release baggage. So we want to let things go. That's the whole purpose of everything that I like to do with my clients is we're going to let that shit go and move into a new space. And so forgiveness allows for that. So we're going to explore the importance of forgiveness, why it's essential, and how you can start practicing it in your own life. And I am going to have kind of a special thing for you. It's not ready yet. I was hoping it'd be ready today, but it should be ready by either the end of the course or 1 or 2 days after, because there's kind of a lot coming up. So it's kind of getting exciting. So let's first spend a little bit of time understanding the importance of forgiveness. Okay. Because like I said, I value this so much that I spend time with my clients working on it. So the first thing is emotional well-being. Forgiveness helps us to reduce negative emotions such as anger, resentment, and bitterness. Those are things we don't want to hold on to. My personal belief is holding on to all of these emotions is what actually causes disease because it is stored somewhere in your body because you haven't released it. So when you forgive, you're not just releasing someone else from blame, you're freeing yourself from the emotional weight and promoting emotional healing and inner peace. Okay, mental health, super important with forgiveness. Studies show that practicing forgiveness is linked to lower levels of anxiety, depression, and stress. So when we can let go of the grudges, let go of the anger, you're also letting go of those mental burdens that keep you stuck in a negative cycle. I'll give you guys a little hint. I don't have a video of it yet, but I'm going to be working on one. It's called the 90-second rule. And this 90-second rule is so key to not getting stuck in this emotional cycle. That'll get posted on my Facebook page down the road, and I'll mention it in our group so that people can go find it if they're interested down the road. But it's such a powerful tool. Physical health, like I just said, when we hold on to things, I believe it creates disease. It's where some of our disease comes from. But if we can do forgiveness practices, it's good for your heart. Literally, research suggests that those who forgive, they experience improved heart health, lower blood pressure, even a stronger immune system. Okay, my husband and I have been in this place where we have been focusing on forgiveness for years. We're in a really healthy place in life and our relationships with people. We've let go of toxic relationships in our lives, and we're 50 years old and we're not on any medication for anything. So living a life where forgiveness is a practice, it does lead to a healthier life. So when it comes to relationships, forgiveness is so important because it strengthens the relationship by fostering trust, empathy, and understanding. When you forgive, you open the door to resolving conflict and building stronger, more meaningful connections. I also think that we have a relationship with self, and forgiving ourselves for whatever happened, maybe the event that caused the anxiety, whatever it is, by loving ourselves and giving ourselves a chance to forgive ourselves for the mistakes that we made is so healthy because we live in a world, in a society where we're so critical, we're self-critical, we're critical of others, and forgiveness is like the opposite of that. Okay, spiritual growth. Many spiritual and religious traditions emphasize forgiveness as a path to spiritual growth. Through forgiveness, you align with higher values and principles, and you lead to a deeper sense of enlightenment and inner peace. I live this. I am in a place as forgiveness is a big part of my life. And I do notice that even though I'm not a religious person, I am a spiritual person on this side. And it's been really an incredible journey from where I was, 5 and 6 years ago to where I am today. The forgiveness practice helps to connect to self, others, and it just is so healing. So I want to also explore why practicing forgiveness is so essential. Okay, so we talked about the emotional piece, releasing the past. When you hold on to grudges, oh my God, I was such a grudge holder. I learned it from my father. So I have overcome the grudge holding. But these grudges keep you tied to the past, that hurt from the past. And what do? If we're holding a grudge, we're reliving that over and over and over again. We don't want to be in a place where somebody did something that hurt us and we just keep reliving it over and over again. That prevents you from moving forward. When you release the grudges, you can really enjoy the present moment. And along the same lines of grudges, when it comes from this anxiety, if you can come back to that root cause of what the anxiety was, you may be reliving that. A lot of times we think of grudges as being held towards a person, but it also can be held towards an event. So maybe you're holding a grudge towards this event, and by forgiving whatever that instance was, you'll be able to help release this anxiety even more. Another important piece about why we want to do forgiveness forgiveness is it's personal empowerment. Forgiveness empowers you by shifting from a focus of victim, that this happened to me, to a personal growth and resilient state. That is so much healthier to come from in that place. Now, that doesn't mean that whatever's happened to, there are events that we experience that suck. Something terrible happened to us from another human being, and those are real traumatic events. I'm not minimizing the trauma. I am not minimizing the trauma at all. What I'm asking us to look at is, first of all, that person obviously is very flawed and had major problems, and whatever it is that this person did wrong to us, it sucks. But they also functioning from a place of whatever all of their stuff is. What is the lesson that we can learn? We can forgive the person who hurt us, and we can be from a place of growth and resilience. Because when you live in a place where you're a victim all the time, it's really hard to move forward. What happened to you, you're letting it define you. So instead of letting it define you, we want to be a resilient person that overcomes it. What can I learn from it? How can I move through this? What lessons can I have gotten from this situation so that it can change the future trajectory for you or your children? So it's just a matter of how we look at these events. And also, it takes your power back. If you are continually focused on this person, that what they did to you was wrong, they still have that power over you. And that does affect our unconscious mind and the way that we view things and how we handle stuff. And when we take our power back, we get to choose how we want to move forward. So that's a tough one. And I understand. And I know some of you have expressed some trauma in life. And please know that I'm not minimizing the traumatic event that happened. It happened. We want to step out of a place of victimhood into a place of empowerment. Okay. So when we forgive, it promotes compassion. Forgiveness is nurturing compassion and empathy, allowing you to better understand another person's perspective and their imperfections. It's a really powerful step towards greater emotional intelligence. So like for me, I was raised by my dad, and he was very uninvolved and very unavailable emotionally. He really wasn't around much. And we now have a good relationship. I was able to forgive him for doing what he thought was best at the time. He thought his job was to put food on the table, so he was working a ton, and he was doing the best with what he could at that time. And if I stayed angry at him and I continued to hold that grudge against him, we wouldn't have the relationship that we have now. And we have now a really good relationship. I have forgiven him for not being a very good dad. Like, he just really wasn't there. And I also am so appreciative of the amazing father that my husband is to our kids, because he's the dad that my dad wasn't. And, my dad will say stuff every so often, kind of what a great job he did raising us. And I'm thinking, Mom is the one who raised me, not you. You were barely around. But I just let it go, because his reality is his perception. So the way he views the situation, I came out a pretty good kid. So he wants to take credit for it. And he had part of it. Like, he wasn't gone 100% of the time. He wasn't a completely absent father, but he wasn't there, as much as like my husband is with our kids. My husband is so involved. Everybody's perception plays a part in this. And so we want to forgive and not hold those grudges. The concept of inner peace, when we let go of the grudge, I could still hold this angry grudge against my father, and that definitely would affect my inner peace. My inner peace would be so impacted if I stayed angry on him and focused on that and in that negative cycle that we've talked about. So letting go of the resentment and anger clears the path for inner peace and contentment. And that's the place that I'm living. You're no longer weighed down by the past, and you can live more fully in the present. So when we think about flight anxiety, there's something that happened in the past that we're holding on to. And instead of living in the present moment, we're allowing something from the past to kind of take hold on us. So this is a great opportunity for you to look within and figure out, what is it that I need to let go of? What do I need to forgive so that past no longer has that stronghold over us? And then on another piece is the social harmony. On a much bigger scale, forgiveness contributes to social harmony. So like in my family, the fact that I have forgiven my father provides a much more harmonious family environment, because I'm not holding on to the anger. So have I resolved my conflicts with my father? No, but I've let them go and I have forgiven him. And then with that forgiveness, it's easier to cooperate. There's a stronger sense of unity. It's a more peaceful environment for everyone, because we're not focusing on all the things my dad didn't do that he should have done. Instead, I'm focused on the fact that we're now able to have a good relationship and we have good communication. And the dynamic has changed as we both have gotten older, and now we have a great loving relationship. So the next question is, how can you start practicing forgiveness? Here's the little piece of information. I am in the process of creating a forgiveness track it's like a meditation I will make available to all of you guys. So that is, for me, the easiest way for me to practice forgiveness, is that I do it with the meditation. And so I'm going to be putting my meditation into a track, and I will make that available for you guys for download. That is my number one recommendation it's my favorite way of doing forgiveness. But some other things that you can do that also help are things like acknowledging the hurt. When you can recognize and validate the pain and the emotions caused by the offense, this is essential for the first step towards the healing process, is the acknowledgement. And then we can reflect on the situation. And can take time to understand the context. And sometimes you might need a coach or a therapist to help you through this, of which I can be available. But you want to really be able to look at the reasons behind the other person's action. And again, this doesn't justify their behavior, but it does help to foster some empathy from you. And having empathy towards the person who's done something wrong to us allows us to see the situation from a different perspective. And we're acknowledging their humanity and their imperfection, just as you would want them to acknowledge yours, because we're all making mistakes. We make mistakes all the time. I teach my kids that there's no such thing as failure. It's just feedback. So when something doesn't go right or we've made a mistake, what can we learn from it? Because that's really what it's about, is what we can learn from things. And then you need to decide to forgive. And this is making a conscious decision to forgive, knowing that your forgiveness is a benefit for you and it's not necessarily for the other person. It's about your own healing and well-being. When you hold on to that resentment, you give all the power to the other person. So when you're able to let go and forgive, you are taking control. And I am all about empowerment, and I work with my clients to help empower them. And then finally, it's letting go of the resentment. So that's actively working on releasing those grudges and the negative emotions tied to the offense. Now, this is a big thing for me in my coaching. I do breakthrough sessions with people where I go back to the root cause of wherever this thing started. Could have been even a past life or passed down to us genealogically. And we just blast that stuff out, get rid of all of the negative emotions, get rid of all of the self-limiting beliefs, so that I can walk them through the transformative process of stepping into new person that they want to be. And this is a big thing, is that we want to release those negative emotions. And sometimes this can be a gradual process. When I work with my clients, it's much faster. We do it actually in a 2-day period, but it is really crucial for your emotional freedom is to release the negative emotions. And that's a lot of what I've been walking you through over the course of the last 19 or 18 days. Today's 19, is really identifying things so that you can be in touch with them and you can release it. And then you also want to communicate your forgiveness if it's appropriate and safe. I do my meditation, which is the main way I do my forgiveness practice. I don't talk to anybody. I'm doing it for my own benefit. The other person doesn't have to know that I've forgiven them. But if it's somebody that I'm really close with, like I don't need to really talk to my dad about the fact that I've forgiven him. So it would probably start a huge argument. He would be like, forgiving me for what? He doesn't see the impact that he had on my life. So for me, I'm not going to talk to my dad about the forgiveness piece. But for my husband, if my husband and I are in conflict, or me and my children are in conflict, or there's an active new conflict maybe with my father, the forgiveness piece becomes that much more important, because I am in communication with them daily. I am in a relationship that's active. And if I've gone through a process that we've had a conflict, I want to express my forgiveness because it's good for the relationship. It's very powerful as well from the healing process for both you and the person that you are forgiving. Another amazing place to spend some time is getting closure from, you can write letters, you can meditate, you can seek professional guidance, which again, I am here to be able to help people work through the forgiveness. And then you just are kind of figuring out what works best for you to be able to move forward. And that self-forgiveness piece, I want to make sure we kind of dial that in again. We want to acknowledge the role that you've played in any situation. And remember that everybody makes mistakes. So like my relationship with me and my dad, I was not the perfect child. I had assumptions and expectations and a whole bunch of things. I played a part in the conflict that we had when I was a kid. So forgiving myself in that space is just as important as me forgiving my dad. Forgiveness is a journey, you guys, and it's such an important one, and it's so healing. If you have an event around this slight anxiety that you can go back and revisit and go through some forgiveness practices, it is really great, because forgiveness is a path to emotional freedom, inner peace, and deeper connections. So I highly recommend practicing forgiveness. You're not just letting go of the past, you're embracing a brighter and more peaceful future. So I hope that today this helped you. I do give you guys my word that I will work on getting a forgiveness meditation ready for you guys that you'll be able to download. And hopefully that this gives you a new perspective on how we can release emotions, let things go, and step into a new place in life. If you have any questions, please pop them in the chat. If you already have a forgiveness practice, I would love to hear what it is, how you use it, how it's helped you. And if you're excited about the forgiveness practice meditation that I'm going to be coming out with, let me know that there too. Forward to chatting with you in the Facebook group. Have a great day.